Not what you send, it's that you do.
I don't sleep.
All my emails are personalized.
My houses come up in the first
Recording that testimonial.
Really, the more you have to be organized.
Not to put all your eggs in one basket.
keep those people remembering you. Give them what they're looking for.
But properly priced is the key.
I say, how can I do this different?
You know, we don't have a technology problem. We have a people problem. You have to build a relationship.
Secrets of Top-Selling Agents with your hosts, Deborah Helleran and Mel McMurrin.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. I'm really happy to introduce Jackie Leavenworth, an agent who quickly became a company's top producer after starting in 1984, and then immediately began sharing her secrets, turning her passion for real estate into a passion for enhancing people's lives.
And now, Coach Jackie, or the Real Estate Whisperer as she's known, spends much of her time on the road delivering quality and life-changing seminars in her engaging and humorous style. In 2011, she's already visited 50 cities across the U.S. and Canada.
It's almost a guarantee she'll be somewhere close to your town in the near future. Jackie is highly certified. She has ABR, CRB, CRS, GRI, SFR, certified, and is a popular certified CRS instructor.
But here's a designation that caught our attention. I don't know if you've heard of this, the RBSOTSAL, as in recommended by Secrets of Top-Selling Agents listeners. That's right. Many of you suggested we get Jackie, and we listen. See what happens when you fill out those surveys at the end.
Yes, I read every one. It's hard to pin Jackie down. Every time I call her, she's in a car traveling somewhere. So we're very lucky to have this very busy trainer in such turbulent times. Jackie, welcome to Secrets of Top-Selling Agents.
Thank you, Deborah, and hello, Mel. I appreciate
Good morning.
this opportunity.
Good.
So,
Jackie, is the price war to the door?
That it is. And to all of the listeners out there, thank you for being online today, and I look forward to spending some time with you and just appreciate your time and hope that we can make a difference, because this is not the easiest market we've ever worked in. And Mel and Deborah, when you announced all of those letters behind my name, the one that I am so proud to have removed from my name is the designation of WIT, and that was whatever it takes. So, you know, this hour together will help us get the WIT off of our name, I think, and help us stop wanting more for others than they want for themselves, and begin listing sellers who will listen to the market, where we can actually get the job done, get referrals later, and get paid. So I'm ready to roll. Are you guys ready to roll?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. So the name of the class is A Price War to the Door. And the price war begins on the Internet. And that's what has changed so much. We're all still out there doing just a CMA to price homes, and we haven't really adjusted our sales for the fact that the price war begins on the Internet now. Our first showings are on the Internet now. I don't believe we'll ever have as many live showings on a home as we did in the past, because the buyers are looking at them on the Internet, and they're starting with price, So that has everything to do with what we're talking about. So let's go to the 5 dangers of keeping overpriced listings. So, you know, when we put them on the market, hopefully we're putting them on in a price point where we believe that will create some activity from today's buyers and buyers agents. The real danger is in keeping them there and not repositioning them timely. So the dangers of this. Number one, I would say that the number one danger of having these overpriced listings is the seller's expectations. Because let's face it, we've all dealt with the seller who calls us every night or weekly, and they're complaining that their home hasn't been sold, it's not being shown, etc. Well, you know what? The quote I love, there's a butt for every saddle. There is a buyer for every home at the right price. Even flea bags sell for the right price. I mean, we all know that. So when we put that home on at too high of a price, let's say it's a $250, when we know that that home won't go for more than $190 to $200, what we've done is heightened the seller's expectations. if you would put your hand up around your eyebrows like a scout, that would be the seller's expectations of $250. And then we tell them how beautiful their home is and how proud we are to market it, and that just sends their expectations through the ceiling on time. So let's say now we put this home on the market, and they're thinking $250 in 3 weeks at the most. And the harsh reality is, and this is where my hand is by my belly button down below, the harsh reality is that they get $185 on their house 9 months later. And what happens in that gap between their expectations and their reality is this funnel cloud, if you will, of emotions that's rolling around in these people. And these emotions are their anger and their disappointment and their hurt and their frustration and all of that. And you know what? Those emotions are all spinning around in those people and headed for you and me every time. So the secret is emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence really simply means telling the truth even when the truth hurts. So what we've got to do is try to bring the seller's expectations closer to the seller's reality in a way that they'll still like and respect us. That's our goal. That is our goal. So danger number one is creating those high expectations in the seller's mind. Danger number two, reputation. This hit me like a ton of bricks. What happened was when a past client called me and needed to sell her home. It's out of my market area. I can't service her at all, and she knows that, but she called and asked me to refer her to an agent. I remembered a lesson I learned long ago that was never tell people what you could have asked them. I learned that from Ed Hatch. And so I said, Shirley, tell me something. You've been watching the market, I'm sure you have, because you guys were very, very informed buyers when we worked together. So tell me who you've considered already by watching what's going on in the neighborhood. Her answer blew me away. She said, Jackie, I don't know who we want to hire. That's why we called you. But I will tell you who we don't want to hire. We don't want to hire so-and-so. And the name she gave me was one of the first agents I would have recommended. And I was blown away by it, and I told her that. And she said, why would I not want to hire her? Come on, get real, Jackie. She's got 3 other listings in our subdivision for sale. They've been there for over 6 months. The woman obviously doesn't know how to sell a home. And folks, it was a huge epiphany for me. I thought, we take these listings, even when they're overpriced, thinking we'll get that ripple effect business. We'll get the buyers calling on the sign and the buyers on the internet leads and all of that. But where is the fine line between the ripple effect business from the buyer versus the reputation that we're building and the perception that we're giving the community that drives by that sign day after day and week after week and month after month? So reputation, danger number 2. Danger number 3, we all know that if the days on market stats, let's say in your MLS, were an average of 128 days on market, we would all want our days on market for our listings sold to be lower. We would like for them to be lower. But if we take those overpriced listings and we keep them on the market, our average days on market goes up. And you know what that is? It's a reverse effect of what we really need. There are 2 statistics that will help you get every listing out there. One of them is Mr. and Mrs. Seller, statistically speaking. I sell homes in less time than my competitors. Danger number 3, list to sale price statistics. This is another one of those critical statistics. Ideally, if I can say that statistically and prove it with statistics, if I can say that I get sellers on average more money than my competitors do, then that's another reason for them to hire me. I do it in less time for more money. So if your MLS were to show a market average of 97.5% of the final list price, I would want my statistics to show higher than that I get them more money. That also, by the way, takes away commission objections. But if I keep overpriced listings, my list to sale price average typically goes down. And I have, again, a reverse reaction. And those 2 numbers that are so important to get hired on, I can sell your home in less time for more money, have the exact opposite. Now, if you look at the bottom of your screen there, it's Denny Grimes and Company. And on a 1-hour webinar, obviously I can't give you every trick in the book here, but I have learned so much from Denny, and I know he's going to have another webinar next week. He has done one of the smartest things with list to sale price and days on market that I've ever seen. So don't miss Denny's webinar next week. Danger number 5. Danger number 5, there's no time left to list sellers who will listen to the marketplace. And that's what we need. You know, if we're so busy maintaining the sellers who are overpriced and listening to their complaints, and by the way, spending our money on $2,000 shiny brochures thinking that that will make someone overpay in today's market, it won't. We're spending our time getting more creative in marketing. We're spending our time dealing with complaints when it really is not going to sell a home. What sells a home today is positioning it in the marketplace in such a way that the buyers will feel safe. Buyers will feel safe buying it in today's market, and lenders will feel safe qualifying it for a loan. That is exactly what will make the big difference here. So let's review those. It's always said that repetition is the mother of success. Danger number 1, creating too high of expectations in the seller's mind, which makes the huge letdown when the reality faces them. So we need to bring their expectations closer to reality. Number 2, our reputation. Number 3, we end up with higher days on market. Number 4, we end up with lower list to sale price. And number 5, we end up with not enough time to go find those sellers who really do need to sell and who really will listen to the market. So those are the 5 dangers of overpricing. So at this point, we are going to head out to preparing for the listing. So when we're preparing for the listing here, this is a part of the phone call that I've found really works well. So this is when I'm on the phone with the seller preparing for an appointment. And I tell them right up front, there are 3 possible outcomes that could happen when we get together tonight. Number 1, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you could choose to hire me to represent you in the sale of your home. Number 2, you could choose not to hire me tonight to represent you in the sale of your home. Now, when I say that in a live class, people's eyeballs roll, and they look at me like, why would I tell them they don't have to choose me? I mean, I want the listing. Well, the reason I'm doing that is because I want to break down the barrier with them, because you know there are conversations going back and forth between these people who own this home saying, well, who's this lady coming tonight? How long is it going to take? What's she going to do? Do you think she's going to push us to sign something? When you take this barrier out of there with number 2, all of a sudden, the person who says, do you think she's going to push us to sign something? The other person says, no, she told me right on the phone. We could choose to hire her, or we could choose not to. And I break the barrier down. Number 3, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we might mutually agree that your home doesn't qualify for my marketing program. Now, for some of you, you might be going, oh, wow, I couldn't say that. For others, you're going, that is too cool. I could absolutely say that. And the mutually agree is an important part of this. And what this means is that we all need to have our line in the sand, if you will. For me, it's called 3 strikes and you're out. What are the things that would make you not want to take that listing and put it into your inventory, spending your time and your money for, by the way, for most of us, for no pay unless you get it sold on their terms? So when people will challenge me on the phone, and it has happened, and they'll say, well, what do you mean it might not qualify for your marketing program? And I say, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, look, one of the most important things that we can do is position your home in the market in such a way that the buyers will feel safe buying it, and position it in such a way that the lenders will feel safe qualifying it for a loan. If you are not willing to position your home in a way that I believe it will qualify for a loan, or in a way that I believe buyers' agents will get excited or buyers will get excited and want to see it after seeing it on the Internet because it is a price word of the door, then I will probably not take the job, because I only want to take jobs that I believe I can complete. I hope that makes sense to you. And I'll tell you what, you do this with them and all of a sudden you're not on your knees begging for a listing. They realize you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you, and it gives you a big upper hand. We've literally walked in at times when people have said, I've never worked so hard cleaning my house in all my life. We wanted to make sure we qualified for your marketing program. So it's pretty cool, pretty darn cool. So we are going to have some giveaways, I believe, and after that, the 3 keys to pricing research will rock your world and absolutely rock the seller's world. So stay tuned. Deborah, Mel, take it away.
Jackie, Tina has already said, great job, Jackie, of summarizing the key points for the 5 dangers. So
excellent.
People are already enjoying what you're saying. Everyone, go to Facebook and like us, Homes Connect.
Homes Connect.
Or follow us on Twitter or Homes_Connect. We were going to be drawing 2 winners right now, but we haven't had anyone sign up. So sign up and we will draw the winners in about half an hour. Back by popular demand. Last week, Denny Grimes was here in the studio talking about developing the mindset of an expert listing agent. He is going to do part 2 by popular demand. Everyone asked for him to come back. So he'll be coming back November 2nd. Don't miss it. Sign up as soon as this webinar is over to reserve your seat.
And Jackie's going to cover a bunch of things quickly in this hour, and you're probably going to want more time. Well, you can listen to the webinar, but you can also listen to her special CDs and get 19 listing and pricing forms. You can visit CoachJackie.com/product for those, and there's a special deal there on the website. At the end of the hour, we're going to find out everything you want to know about Homes Connect, especially how it's going to change how you do social prospecting. So stick around for that. Gerald Pollack from Homes.com joining us at the end of the hour. And Jackie, we're back to you.
All right, great. Thank you. So the 3 keys to pricing research, let's think about these. Number 1 would be, let's figure out, before we ever go on an appointment, what the seller happens to be thinking. How much do they think their home is worth? And you know, I mean, I've been in this business for 27 years now, and I know that I used to ask the question, so what were you thinking your home was worth, or where were you thinking that we would price your home, or whatever? And a lot of the times I got the answer, well, that's why we're calling you. So for a long time, I thought, well, now, how do I figure this out without sort of offending them or making myself look like an idiot? And then I learned it, and it was so funny when I did, because I learned it from the Crockett team. Now, the Crockett team, David and Judy and Todd, and their daughter Melissa was on the team at this point as well. She's now a regional manager for a large firm. They are very good friends of mine in Mentor, Ohio, and I've worked with their team off and on. And don't you know, I had to go to, I believe it was San Francisco, at an NAR national convention, heard Todd on a superstar panel, and he gave me this dialogue, and I thought, I can't believe I've known these people all this year, and all these years, and I never heard this dialogue before, and it was fabulous. And here's what is on the phone with the seller before the appointment. The dialogue is very simple. It says, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, look, I'm going to be doing a lot of research on your home, and I haven't had the opportunity to see it yet. What price range do you think I should study? Now, that, I'll tell you, you will get an answer out of 95, 98% of the sellers. They will tell you a price range. One little addition and tweak I've made to this is one person said, well, I thought you knew the market area, that's why I called you. So I've enhanced it a bit to say, you know, I'm going to be doing an awful lot of research on your home, and while I know the area, every home has its unique advantages, and I haven't seen yours yet. What price range do you think I should study for your home? And that kind of got me out of that hot seat of I thought you knew the market. And they will give you a response. And then I do a down and dirty little CMA on the computer to see if they are like nuts or if they are realistic in their pricing. And that gives me a real good feel for that. So we've got to know what the seller is thinking. In addition to that, Homes.com has done a beautiful job. You know, and there are websites people can go to, and they can get what they think their home is worth. And we all know that not only is it a price war to the door for the buyers because they're going in and searching by price point, but it's a price war to the door, I believe, even for the sellers, because they're going to the Internet before they contact you and me today. This is a screenshot of Homes.com in one of my favorite areas of the world called Wadsworth, Ohio, just a small town. And these streets of Highland and Woodland and Crestwood Avenue are some of the most popular streets there with just a great old feel to them. And if I owned a home there, I could go in and see what the estimated value is for that home. Now, you and I both know that it may or may not be correct, because this is all coming from the auditor information, tax information, things of that nature, but they're getting the number. So whether that number is correct or not doesn't matter to me. What does matter to me is what the seller believes as a result of seeing these numbers. Because if this number for their home is higher than what I'm bringing in, I should be prepared for that. And if it's lower, I should be prepared for that, so that I know my presentation takes care of their expectations and allows them to logically see why it is or is not correct. So I think we need to look at that. I've got a fun slide coming up here for you. This cracked me up, because before I will go talk to a seller, I'm absolutely going to do my homework online and see what the seller may be seeing at homes.com. And another one that I reference is Zillow. Again, I'm not worried whether it's right or wrong. I'm worried what they see. So what we found on this in Brecksville, Ohio, was here's a seller that has a Zestimate, or an opinion of value from Zillow, at $279,000. There is a feature in Zillow called Make Me Move, where the seller can go in and say, well, you know, I'm not really ready to put my home in the market, but if somebody would pay me this much money, I'd move. And this guy wants $1.6 million. So I'm thinking, if I went to visit this seller, I would want to go in and see if he perhaps is in a Make Me Move situation and see what he would like to have for his house. This would be good for me to know before the appointment. So anyway, it was funny. We saw it. And, you know, it's funny. Some of them are under those estimates. Some of them are over. Some of them are kind of spot on. But it's good to know. And there are a lot of people in there using those features in these different websites now. So let's figure out what the seller is thinking. Key number 3. Not all competition is comparable. And this is huge. This is huge. And when I do my all-day seminars or my half-day seminars on this, I encourage you to attend, because while a webinar is great, and I'm going to give you as much as I can give you in an hour, there is no substitute for being live and beating this up and learning how to deal with this. This is critical. Let's say that we're going out on a presentation for the ranch on the left-hand side of your screen, and you feel that that ranch is going to be positioned somewhere between $175,000 and $200,000. Well, typically, we do a CMA to price that home. And that CMA is on like homes. So you're going to do one-story homes. You're going to do similar square footage, similar bathrooms, similar bedrooms, hopefully in the same subdivision, if not within a mile. And then, based on what's currently on the market and what's sold in the last 6 months or to a year, we peg a price. And I can't tell you how much I did it for years like this, and it just isn't hitting the button. The truth of the matter is, the homes that are competing with that home are not just the one-family, 3-bedroom, 1.5-bath homes within the subdivision or within a mile. The home on the right is new construction. What if 3 or 5 miles away there's a new construction home, or worse yet, development that has homes between 175 and 2? There's a large part of the population, especially the younger generation, who, if they can get a brand new home for the same price that they can get that 25-year-old ranch, they will buy the new. Below is condominium townhouses, especially the baby boomers. If they can go get a maintenance-free home for the same price point that they could buy that 25-year-old home where they have to mow the lawn, wash the windows, and rake the leaves and shovel the snow, they're going to buy the townhouse condominium. Now, here's the truth of the matter. You would never, ever put a new construction or a condominium on a CMA with a 25-year-old ranch. But the truth of the matter is that they are still competing. Therefore, key number 3, not all competition is comparable. So when we do a CMA with nothing but comparables, we are not sharing with the seller the way the buyer is viewing this home as he searches on the Internet for everything in this price range that's available. The truth is, there's a lot more competition than there are comparables. And I think we've got to explain this. Key number 1, know what the seller is thinking. Key number 2, do your research online to know what the seller is seeing. Key number 3, not all competition is comparable. So here's just kind of like a little screenshot of true competition. If I went into that Wadsworth area and I were looking at a home, and I went in today and I said, I want to see what's for sale between $150,000 and $200,000. That's what I want to spend. If you look at this, there are 108 homes for me to choose from. And yet, some realtor went into that seller and ran a CMA and said, oh, here are the 3, 4, or 5 homes that are similar to yours. And that's all the seller thinks is competing. Not true. True competition is right there. So it makes a difference. And does it matter? I think it does. Let's say that all we did was a CMA and found 5 comparable homes between $150,000 and $200,000. And we chart them out on this little red line and say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, look, we've got 2 at about $169,900, $170,000. We've got 1 at $179,900 and 1 at $189,900. Now, where on that red line would you want to position your home to attract today's buyers? And the seller positions his or her home. And when they think there's only 5 homes competing with them, they go over here. And frankly, in our market, they go a lot higher than that even. But what if we're able to show them that the price war begins on the Internet? And it is a price war to the door. If you don't win that war on the Internet, they're not even going to come into your house. What if the buyers have 108 choices in your little city alone, or 108 choices within a radius of 5 or 8 or 10 miles from your house? What if they have that many choices? I believe, with all my heart, that if the buyer absolutely needs to sell, the buyer will get more realistic in where he positions his home. Now, I also believe this. If the buyer has the seller, if the seller is experiencing no pain of staying in the home, then none of this will matter. So I said it when we began. I'm going to say it again. We've got to stop wanting more for people than they want for themselves. We need to work with people who absolutely want and need to sell a home and will be realistic based on the current market. So the ultimate study of this, and this is stuff that we will learn in the live classes, how to actually do this. But if I were talking to this seller, I would be able to tell them, look, there are 108 homes competing with you in this area. And that could be the city, could be a radius around their home. We study it different ways when we're in the classroom. Between $150,000 and $200,000. So that's a buyer looking in that price point. And Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what you need to understand is only 9 homes in that price range in this area that we studied have sold in the last 3 months. Well, at that rate, it will take 3 years to sell all 108 homes. So there's 36 months of inventory waiting for the buyers to buy it. If the buyers don't begin buying faster, or if more sellers come on the market, this is all going to change. And the line could get even longer, or it could get shorter. But right now, it's about 3 years. How does that work with your plans, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? And the brutal reality of this is that at the rate the buyers are buying this price range right now in this area, less than 3% of those sellers in line will sell within the next 30 days. Here's kind of what it looks like. 3% will sell in the next 30 days, and 97% will still be sitting on the market. The question, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, where do you want to position your home? How do you want to be positioned? And do you want to be in the 3% that moves through in 30 days, or do you want to be hanging out with the 90%, 97% for a while? Those are critical questions. Critical questions. And we need to learn to do all this. So hopefully those 3 keys really helped you out there. Now let's look at 4 words that can change the seller's expectations. And this is easier said than done. We're going to change some dialogues, but the longer we've been in the business, man, the harder it is to change the words that roll out of our mouth. So it's going to take practice. But I want you to just understand the psychology of sales on this. First of all, active listings. That is what the current inventory is called in our MLS. And we've picked that term up, and we've run with it, and we say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here are the homes that are active on the market today, da-da-da. Well, if you think about this, the term active by itself means activity. So if I tell the seller that these are the active homes, they assume those are the homes that have activity on them. And most of us on this call are in a market area right now that has a ton of inventory that's getting 0 activity. So why would we want to indicate that there's activity on all those homes? So we simply changed it quite a few years ago to say these are the unsold properties. That is truly the reality of what those homes are. They're unsold properties. They are not active listings in many cases. The next word is price, and we overdo price. I mean, we're talking on the phone and we say, oh yeah, we're going to get together tonight and I'll be sharing with you information about where other sellers have priced their homes and what price homes sold for, and then we're going to establish a list price for your home, and we use all those terms. Well, if you think about this and you go to Webster's dictionary, the word price means worth or value. So every time you and I use the word price, we are actually indicating to the seller that that is the worth or the value of their home. The list price, they take it as worth or value. And then when they get less than that, they think they lost money. And when you want to, gosh, I don't like the term drop the price or reduce the price, they think you're giving away their equity. So instead of price, we simply use the term position. To position something, if you look it up in the dictionary, means to place it or to place it among others. So we shouldn't be going in talking to a seller about what the worth or value of their home is. We should be going in talking to a seller about, here are all the homes the buyers have to choose from. Where do we want to position your home to get the buyer's attention and have them move from the comfort of their living room on the internet in their bunny slippers to your front door? Where do we want to position it, not price it? And I never establish a price for a seller anymore. I'll give them a range and let them pick the position. My job is to figure out whether I want to take that listing or not to name the price, because the minute I do it, I've taken ownership of that number, and I'm responsible for it. And so I don't want to do that. That's their job. The next is comps. We don't use the term comps because comp to me means similar or equal. And I don't sell probably in your market, but I know in my market and in 27 years of experience, our sellers don't want to be told their homes are like others. Theirs is always special. So instead of comps, we simply use the term competition. And in fact, what we're using now is, we're studying the competition and we're trying to find a compelling place among the competition so that the buyers, agents, and buyers get excited to see your home. And the last word is list price, the last term. It's list price. And on list price, again, it's going to indicate to the seller that that is worth or that is value. And that's not exactly where we want to be. We don't want to be at worth. We don't want to be at value. So we call it an initial market position. And an initial market position speaks very differently than list price. Again, list price is going to be, here's what your home is worth. Initial market position is, here are the homes competing with you. Where do we want to initially position your home to attract today's buyers and, more importantly, the buyer's agents who have the buyers who are out there? Now, when we do that, the word initial has a big psychological impact upon these sellers. And they will ask you, they'll say, what do you mean by initial market position? Well, what I mean by an initial market position, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is that it is our job to establish a market position and then see how the market responds. If the market isn't responding in a way that's going to get you where you want to go, then we need to not drop the price, not reduce the price, because they're going to see that as giving away equity. In fact, I'll never forget when a seller said to me, we had started out at 200, we went to 190, and then we wanted to go to 180. And the seller said, I already gave away $10,000, I'm not giving away another $10,000. And that's their mentality. That's exactly the way they see it. So with initial market position, it's, look, if this is where we're positioned, and the market is not responding in a way that's going to get you where you want to go on time, we simply need to reposition ourselves to try to create some excitement and urgency out there for the buyers to want to see your house, and when they do see it, to want to make an offer for fear if they don't buy it, someone else will. That would be a compelling position for your home. And that's what we're here to establish. So I hope you picked up a fifth word that can change their expectations that is not on the screen. And the fifth word is reposition. Not drop prices, not reduce prices. It's giving away equity. We simply reposition it within the list of competition. That's where we go with it. So,
Jackie,
hopefully...
I have a question from Kim.
Sure.
She says, do comps include solds as well as actives?
Yes, and what you'll find here, and that's, thank you, Deborah, this will bring this together. Now, when I run the competition, all right, that competition is all the activity, and I'm simply showing the seller what is competing with them on the Internet for the buyer's attention. That's all that goes there. Now, when I do the math for that ultimate study, then I look at what's sold in that price range in the last 90 days as well. I'm going to look at that. But that is only one side of this equation. I'm not throwing the CMA out the door by any means. I am suggesting that there is another study to show the sellers the reality of the marketplace, that there's much more than what showed up on your CMA competing for the buyer's attention, and the seller needs to understand it. So if you look at the screen now and you look at the funnel, let's just pretend something. That funnel is your seller's head. And what we've done with sort of the new terminology, the introduction to the Internet, and the way the buyers will surf the Internet in a big area, in a big price range. And as a matter of fact, in my opinion, the buyers do serve a larger price range now than they ever did before because of the media. And what happens is that if they think that they want to pay no more than $150 to $160, they will look up to $200 on the Internet now because they think they can steal things. So it's a big old price range, a big old area. So all we've done is sort of dump the buyer's perception of their home in their head. We still need to look at their home through the appraiser's perception. And when we do look at that through the appraiser's perception, we've always called it a CMA. We're going to look at the unsold properties that are most similar in nature, and here's where we're hitting that CMA with the similar properties, etc. But it's not the whole story. We're going to blend those two. When we put both of them into the seller's head, we pray that the seller spits out at the bottom an educated decision that will help them get where they want to go on time. That's the deal. So let's, while we're thinking about putting these together, let's do one more thing on buyer perception. When I talked about the buyer perception and the price forward to the door, this half of what we're putting in the funnel is not just what you're finding in your MLS or the IDX. These buyers are starting perhaps on your IDX, perhaps on homes.com, perhaps on realtor.com. And this was a fun scenario. I was teaching this course, a live course, in Long Island, New York. And I was standing in the room, and I had downloaded the realtor.com mobile app. Now, there are a lot of mobile apps out there right now that you can get. And so I stuck this one in my phone, and I stood in the room, and I said to the agents, how many properties do you think between 1 and 2 million are available for the buyers to choose from right now within 5 miles of where I'm standing? And their guesses were like 35, 45, 50 properties. Well, all I had to do was go into my app and put 1 million to 2 million within a 5-mile radius of my current GPS position. And within a second, it popped up, and there were over 200 homes available between 1 and 2 million. So I said to the agents then, I said, now let me ask you a question. Do you think that buyers looking for a home here on Long Island might drive 10 miles? Might they go up to Oyster Bay if they want a home? And they said, are you kidding me? They'll go anywhere on Long Island. And I said, okay, let's put in 10-mile radius, because you can do that in this app. So I changed it from 5 miles to 10 miles, kept the $1 to $2 million price point. And the number came up. Their guesses were not even close. It was, I can't remember the exact number, but the number that wants to ring in my head, and I know I'm right in the hundreds, was 817. Over 800 homes for the buyers to choose from between $1 and $2 million on Long Island. Could that have anything to do with the fact that our sellers don't have as many showings as they'd like to have on their homes right now? Could it have anything to do with the fact that the sellers aren't getting the activity and they aren't selling right now? You know, there's a great book out there called The Paradox of Choice. And the paradox of choice says when there's too many choices, we don't buy anything. And I know I had that experience myself. I was going to remodel my kitchen. And I went to Lowe's and Home Depot and looked at sinks, and I found that there were like 80 different designs of sinks. You know, do you want a shallow well or a low well? Do you want 2 wells? Do you want 1 well? Do you want? And then there were like 40 colors. I got so confused over the sink that I never remodeled my kitchen. And that is what's happening with our buyers today. So, 2 lessons here. Number 1, this is exactly the way the buyers are looking at homes. Number 2, the first showings used to be in your home, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, but they're no longer in your home. They're now on the Internet. And where we position your home will determine how many second showings we get. So my friends, if you are not doing good analytics to show the sellers how many first showings they've gotten, because they're telling you that their home hasn't been shown, and that's not true at all. It's getting a whole bunch of showings on the Internet. They're just not choosing to make a second showing, get out of their bunny slippers, and come to the front door based on how the home is positioned. So there's the buyer's perception. Perception number 2 is looking through the appraiser's eyes. There's our CMA. Now, I've got, man, I pray that I see you in a live class because I want to help you on this. We are working too hard, and we are over-inundating the seller with data that they just don't need. One of the reasons that the sellers are hyper-focused on price is because you and I are hyper-focused on price. It's the fact that we've been trained to go in on a listing appointment and spend a half an hour to an hour going over all of the comps on our CMA and talking about the details of those homes. And I have to tell you, the sellers don't care. What they care about is how much do you think I can get for my home? How long do you think it'll take? And what are you going to charge me to do that? That's what they really care about. So I have got what I call the 5-minute QHA. Now, the study is identical to what I've always done on a CMA. Study's identical. But why would I call it a CMA when all my competitors do? So it's a QHA. It's a Qualified Home Assessment. And we explain it in like 5 minutes. You don't need to go over all those comps. You need to say, here's all the competition. Here are the ones that are most similar to yours. Knowing all of that, where would you like to position your home? I mean, it's just so much easier, and I want to help you here. I really want to help you because we've worked too hard. When I finally figured this out, I started this in 1996, and I've taught it all over the United States, from Hawaii to Maine. I've taught it in Canada, in every price point, and by golly, it works. I don't even any longer give them the 3-up or little comparable CMA. The seller doesn't get that because you know what they do with it? They put it on their counter and use it as a for sale by owner. So we've got to make it easier. We've got to stop inundating these people on this stuff. And I'll tell you, here is a result of everything that we've talked about. This is Wanda Fears, Richmond, Virginia. Wanda, maybe you're even on the line. I don't know. But I did a 2-day CRS class, as a matter of fact, where I teach my new pricing strategies within that class. And she said, it's never been easier to get price reductions. I've had 4 significant price reductions in one sale since the class. Now, I would be calling those repositions, by the way, just for the record. You've changed how I do business forever and reduced my stress. See, it takes less time. It takes less energy. And the sellers like us more, even though it took less time. It's great. She says, I've made so much money off that class, I feel like giving you a commission. Laugh out loud. And I contacted her back and said, don't laugh out loud. I think that's a fabulous idea. I would love a commission on all the things that you do easier as a result of these classes. So I hope that, you know, like in this hour, that you're picking up some good nuggets that are going to help you minimize your time, minimize your stress, and stop hyper-focusing on price and over-inundating the seller with data. They don't need all of that. They don't need all of that. So in the live classes, I wanted to share with you the information, like today, Much of it is new. It's very different. It's very relevant. And Young and Rubicam, which is a huge marketing firm, came out and they gave their 4 pillars of branding. And I use those 4 pillars as a basis for everything. They said that we need to be we need recognition in the marketplace. People need to know who we are. We need reputation, we need relevance, and we need difference. And the most important of those 2 were relevance to the specific seller and market and points of difference. My job is to give you iPods, points of difference, that separate you from your competitor. So when you go in against 2 or 3 people, you can win hands down, and it didn't take you as long to prepare, and you're systemized, and it all makes sense. So we get a lot of new dialogue in addition to this. We use the new pricing strategies in our pre-list strategies, and even for those of you who do expireds or for sale by owners, or if you've never done them, we learn how to do them with this. We learn a shopping cart report, which is taking that ultimate study and making it very relevant to the seller. We'll learn how to do the 5-minute qualified home assessment so that you have an actual system for it. I mean, I gave you enough. You can go out and do it today, but we'll get systems for it and fabulous ways to overcome the seller's objections when they want to wait for the market to change, because a lot of them right now are wanting to do that. So we'll learn websites, et cetera. But Jackie, I have this much money in my house. But Jackie, I need this much money out of my house. But Jackie, if we don't get this out of it, we can't move to that house. And if we can't move to that house, why should we even sell this house? We'll take care of all of it. And I would love to see you. As you can see, I'm teaching this concept in 6 different cities in the month of October. Virginia Beach, and actually it's Saturday of this week. I'm flying on Friday, so it's Saturday of this week in Virginia Beach at the Virginia Convention, and then the Kansas Convention next week on Tuesday, Northern Black Hills of South Dakota on the 20th, and that one's an all-day class, so, I mean, it'll rock your world. East Bergen, New Jersey on the 27th, Tinton Falls, New Jersey, Monmouth County on the 28th, and then I'm in East Hartford, Connecticut for a 2-day CRS course that will teach you this as well. So, folks, I so appreciate you being online with me today, and I pray that I get to meet you in person to help make even a bigger difference in your life, because that's what makes me tick. All right? Thank you.
Jackie, people Gail saying, Jackie, when are you coming to Windy City? When are you coming to WA? When are you coming to Florida, Hawaii?
Oh, there you go. Florida, we're already booked for 2012. Windy City, we're already booked for 2012. So you know what? Go to, on this slide, you've got my website, CoachJackie.com. Click on the schedule of events, and you'll see where I am. And I am booked through, oh gosh, at least half of 2012 already. So I will be in your city, and I want to see you live. I want to make a difference, and I want for you to make a difference in my life too.
If there's a group in a city that's not on your schedule, can they request to get you there?
Oh, gosh, no, Mel, I just don't.
Just don't respond to requests.
Of course, absolutely. Just get a hold of me. There's a request form on the website, and I will get back to you, sure.
Are you going to Boston?
You know, I don't have Boston on the books for 2012. We've been talking about it, so if there's a group that wants me to come into Boston, I would love to do that.
Yep, Joe wanted to know that.
And if they can't get you in the area, they can get you virtually, it looks like here on the screen, with CDs or these pricing and listing forms.
You bet, you bet. And the CDs, just so you know, there's 2 CDs in each one of these, and they were professionally recorded at a live 3-hour program, so you get the interaction of the class in them. They're broken down professionally into tracks. So if you just want to listen to the shopping cart dialogue before you go into the seller's house, you just plug that track. And the listing forms is a virtual set of forms that you get via email. Take my copyright off, put your brand on, and just pop them right into your pre-list or your listing presentation. $40 each, or you get the whole package for $100 on my website.
Right.
Fantastic.
Will you be at NAR, Jackie?
I will be at NAR. I'm teaching 3 courses. I'm teaching listings by the dozen. And I'm teaching Selling with Style, which is very close to my heart. It's the DISC behavioral profiling.
Oh.
And I will also be teaching, golly, what am I teaching? Who's Driving the Bus, I believe, for managers, taking your office to a new level.
Excellent. So people could catch you there.
You bet. You bet. And please, if you're there, come up to see me. Come up to see me. So in summary, folks, keeping the overpriced listing hurts not only the seller, it hurts us. It hurts us. And know what the seller is thinking, so we're better prepared when we go into the appointment with them. Words can change perception. Practice those new words. Teach the seller to look through the buyer's eyes as well as the appraiser's eyes. And position the home wisely, make more money, have more fun, and get a little better balance in your life. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you, Jackie. This was awesome. We've got some great questions here. Mel, do you have a question?
I do, but I'm so busy chatting with everybody. Let me get back to that screen because you guys are really active. And Ryan is from your area. I want to make sure that I understood the MLS name right because he's from the Neo-Rex. Is that how you pronounce it?
Neo-Rex, Northern Ohio.
Neo-Rex.
Eastern Ohio.
And he had he'd heard the percentage about the first days, first selling in the first 30 days, but he heard it was a different percentage, like 10 or 12%, and was shocked at the 3% and wondered where that comes from.
All right, where that came from, the great question, by the way, where that came from is that is not the entire MLS. Here's what's important about this study when we learn it. This is a specific price range in a specific area. And for me, I use the seller's home as the center point, and I radiate out 5 miles, 8 miles, 10 miles, whatever I think a buyer will think. I radiate out, so I make it specific to the seller. So if you go under Neo-Rex, that might be true. But if you go into a price point in a small area, you're going to have a very different number. And you could do the 150 to 2 and find 3% of those are moving through in the next 30 days at the rate the buyers are buying today, which will constantly change. And you could do then the 2 to 250 price range and find out it's 10%. So that's why it's so important to learn our markets and to learn to know the different price points in the markets. Great question.
Okay, great. We actually forgot we have 2 winners for the $25 gift card from iTunes. Drum roll, Mel. The first winner is Lola Grace from New Jersey. Congratulations, Lola.
She was worried she didn't get signed in, but it did work, Lola. We got your... now drum roll.
Next winner, Cecilia from Florida.
And we're going to do 2 more drawings at the end of Gerald's presentation because in about 10 minutes we'll have everything you wanted to know about Homes Connect and social prospecting. So keep your questions coming in, but stick around for Homes Connect, and we'll get some more questions.
Okay, I have a question here. Jackie, can you repeat the QHA script again, please?
Yes, and what does it stand for? A lot of people asking about that.
Okay, QHA stands for Qualified Home Assessment. And the reason I picked that, by the way, there are a lot of new names for CMAs floating around out there, and there are some that I really don't like at all. One of them is an RPA, right price assessment. I think that's terrible because what that means is I'm telling the seller that what I'm telling them is right. And I don't know if I'm right. I can't establish value for a home. That's established the day the home closes, and it's good until the next closing. So qualified home assessment to me makes sense because sellers are looking for qualified buyers to view their home, and buyers agents are looking for qualified homes. In other words, it would appraise and qualify for a loan. So a qualified home assessment.
Excellent. Let's go backwards for a second because Penny missed the things right immediately after the first showing is not in the home. It's on the Internet. So I think we're going back to the beginning, and you had your 5 points, I believe. Shall I retrace slides for you?
No, that's okay. That's okay. I've got them here, and basically I said it twice. So, and here's the script. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, it used to be that the first showing on your home was in your home, and it's not like that anymore. The first showing on your home is now on the Internet. And then I followed that up to say that if we are not keeping the analytics and sharing the analytics of the hits on the website for their home, we are missing the boat big time because when the seller is complaining that they've had no showings on their home, the truth is they may have had 800 showings in the last 2 weeks on their home. But none of those people who saw it chose to literally get out of the comfort of their home and come to their front door. So it didn't win the price war to the door.
All
That's
right,
the first showing
great.
dialogue.
Gail wants to know, Jackie, do you do a formal listing presentation when you meet with sellers?
Yes, I believe in a pre-listing presentation, number one. I believe that the sellers should get something in advance because about 65% of them will make a decision based on what they know about you in advance, okay? And then a formal presentation, I tell you what, I don't believe in PowerPoint so much because I think it dumbs us down and we feel like we have to go through every slide. So really, I've got more of an agenda that we go through of looking at the home, then sitting down and talking about their concerns, their goals, and any needs that need to be met during this process. Then we look at the marketplace and how it's behaving today and how it might impact them. Then we talk about how I want to reach the marketplace that will buy their home. And then if they like me, trust me, and think they'd want to do business with me, then we will work on positioning their home. So that's pretty much the flow of the presentation.
Jackie. Gina wants to know, when it comes to discussing commissions, what's your word in exchange for commissions and why that word?
Okay, there's another webinar. My word, I don't use the word commission. I use the word success fee. And the reasoning behind that and rationale behind it is I don't get paid unless I sell the home on the seller's terms. And so it's kind of like going to an attorney. If you had something you wanted to see an attorney about and you went to one attorney who said, I charge $385 an hour, win or lose, or you went to another attorney who said, I don't charge you 1 cent unless I win, and then I take a percentage, that's who we are. Most of us are the contingent realtor. We put our time, our effort, our expertise, and our money into this, and if we don't sell the home on the seller's terms, then we don't charge them, and we don't even ask them for the hard costs back. So it's a success fee.
Do you have a listing presentation for sale, Matt wants to know? I guess that's a script.
For sale. I'm not sure I'm
I don't know.
understanding
Matt,
the
is that a
question.
script? You could chat us back.
Do you sell anything that, a product, I guess?
A listing presentation for sale. Oh, do I sell a listing presentation? No, it's in the works. I understand the question now. Do I sell a listing presentation that they could buy? So the closest I come are those 19 forms that are just random forms that you can pop into your thing, but I have not organized them into a presentation. That's on the bucket list.
Great.
Okay. Vicki wants to know, would you repeat the 4 pillars of branding?
4 pillars of branding, yes. We need recognition in the marketplace, a good reputation, relevance, and points of difference.
Thank you. Mel, do you have another question?
Yeah, the QHA info, where are they going to get that? Deborah wants to know.
The QHA info, as far as how I would present the qualified home assessment, et cetera?
I think so, unless you just wanted to hear that again.
The live classroom, you will see it visually. Again, you know, webinar is great, and I can give you tons of tips, but there's no substitute for what you can see visually. And I actually role play that in the live classrooms.
Great. When's your next full day?
My next full day, let's see, my next half day is in Virginia, a half day in Kansas, full day in the southern Black Hills of South Dakota.
Wow.
There they are.
I'll
So
be doing it in New Jersey twice in October and Connecticut.
great. And everybody have a look at that full calendar because you'll see just about every area of the country and Canada represented at some point in the year.
Yeah, in Canada, we should be back up in Canada in April in the Alberta area. So if we have any Canadians online, we should be in your Alberta area.
All right, Jackie, we're going to thank you so much. Everyone is thanking you online here. And we have a few more questions. Maybe we could send them to you and see if you could answer them, and we'll post them on our blog.
Sure. And I appreciate the opportunity and certainly appreciate everyone's time today. I know it's your most precious asset.
Mm-hmm. Thank
Well, it's
you.
been power-packed, and we thank you for your generosity, and
Yes.
everybody is thanking you like crazy. Our screen
Yeah.
is lighting up.
Great, great. Well, I'll see you in a classroom somewhere, folks.
Okay.
Mel, Deborah, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Jackie. Bye-bye.
We're going to do
Bye-bye.
a drawing now.
We've got one more drawing, or are we going to
Oh,
go to
no,
the
we're
end?
going to do the drawing. You're
You
right,
can
Mel.
qualify for this drawing one last time. If you haven't figured out how to friend the Facebook Homes Connect page, just go to facebook.com/Homes Connect and hit like. Or you can follow Homes Connect on Twitter, and it's Homes_Connect on Twitter. Do that quickly, because in 10 minutes or less, we're going to do that drawing right after we introduce Gerald Pollack, and he tells you all about Homes Connect.
Gerald, are you there?
I am here, Deborah. How are you?
Good. Do you really look like that?
I never
Not
had hair
nowadays.
quite like that. I'd say I'm a little bit more like the current version, if you want
Okay.
to say it that way. But I love the photo and love the hair on Andre there.
So, Gerald, you're going to show us how Homes Connect, new product from Homes.com, uses and connects everyone to social media.
Exactly. And I did want to just thank Jackie for all the insightful information. I personally took a lot from everything she had to say, so I think everybody listening would agree with me. So today we are going to talk just for a few minutes about social media and how it relates to our brand new platform called Homes Connect. And we'll pull up the next slide. What is Homes Connect? Well, it's the back-end dashboard for Homes.com products and is the real estate industry's first completely integrated marketing platform, allowing you to log in once to access everything. What we're looking at right here on the screen is a snapshot of our dashboard, and from here, you're going to have access to all your social media outlets from one central location, including Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The idea is no longer will you need to go back and forth between these various sites. Everything is here again in one location for you. There is so much you can do with Homes Connect, but because we are limited to time, I'm just going to focus on the social media aspect of the platform. I want to pull up here a couple interesting statistics about social media, especially Facebook. First is at the top. According to the 2010 NAR survey, 48% of buyers were referred by a friend, a neighbor, or a relative. I'm sure a lot of us have heard this. And as we all know, there is no better lead that you're going to be able to get than one that comes from your referral base. The next one, statistic, that blew me away, and that's that over 116 million Americans use Facebook, and that's over 1/3 of our population. And that number is just going to grow. So it's amazing, you know, how fast just Facebook alone has grown. And then the last statistic is 90% of people trust the recommendations of their Facebook friends. So the question is, are you taking advantage of your social media? I'm going to show you now how we're going to help you integrate your social media into the Homes Connect platform. What's going to happen is on the first day that you join our program, you're going to have this screen that's going to pop up, and it's going to ask you to connect with your social networks. As you can see right here at the top, this system has instantaneously pulled in 600 prospects from Facebook. And below, you can also pull in your contacts from Google or LinkedIn. And what happens when you import your prospects is this. Pull that up. I can now view each individual person, and from here I can click on any one of my prospects, and I can either send them a message or I can add them directly to my contact manager. And our Lead Manager is a fully developed contact management system. You have the option of sending messages through their social network or, of course, by traditional email. And you're going to be able to set your contact up in a drip marketing campaign. You can set a task to connect with them on a certain day and time. You can prioritize leads here and so much more. One of
Can
the
that connection be via email or via their social connection?
That is correct. Yes, you can send it. You can send a message through the social networks or just directly through their email through the system.
Great.
Perfect. And okay, I'm going to pull this slide up here. One of the other options that you have with Homes.com are fully integrated websites with IDX Solutions. So my intention today is not to talk about websites, as that should be saved for another webinar. However, since we're talking about social media, I did want to mention that our websites now allow users to log in using their favorite social networks. And this is designed to do two things. First, it's designed to make it easier for the user to visit the website and not have to remember another username, another password when they return. But it's going to benefit you as the agent because when they sign in through the social networks, their identities will now be confirmed when they sign in. So that means for you, far fewer Mickey Mouse and John Doe leads, and I think everybody out there would be okay with getting less of those. So the last thing that I wanted to mention here is that there is so much that you can do with Homes Connect, and we're adding new features all the time. As an example here, we have a new Facebook application which adds a View My Listings feature onto your Facebook page, and this will just give you another avenue of exposure for your listings. So our motto is log in once and access everything. And what I'm going to do real quick is just go over some of the many options that you have with Homes.com, including we have banner advertising on Homes.com, featured listings on Homes.com, preferred listings as well with Homes.com. As I mentioned, websites with IDX Solutions, the Homes Connect platform allowing you to log in once, to access everything. We have applications. We've been talking a lot about, Jackie talked a lot about CMA. We have a CMazing application which allows you to do CMA reports and buyer tours. We have a Neighborhood Envoy. We have a Marketing Design Center application. Of course, the social media integration with Homes Connect, the contact management system, and lots more. So the idea here is whether you're working the listing side, the buyer's side, or both, we have something to fit every agent's need. So what I would recommend is to give us a call. You can give us a call at 888-510-8795. Again, it's 888-510-8795, or you can email us at productinfo@homes.com. And what we'll do is we'll connect you with a marketing specialist to find out what product works best for you. And I know we had it on the screen before. We do have a special offer for Homes Connect and our Homes.com products. The first 5 people to sign up for any product, we will have their setup fee waived. And that's it for me. I want to thank you Deborah and Mel. Yes.
Yep, I have a quick question. Someone asked about, do you have LinkedIn connected here?
LinkedIn, yes. If what happens is on that screen going back, you can connect with Google, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and all your prospects will import in automatically. Yeah,
great.
Absolutely.
Mel, do you have any questions?
People are saying, sounds great. Oh, there's one. Can we integrate our website back into Homes Connect or another email marketing platform, something they already have?
Okay, so yes, so you can use the platform of Homes Connect and use that as your different system. We're actually working on some things right now to be able to integrate if you're using a different system for leads, to be able to integrate that in. It's not happened right yet, but we're coming out with some things to be able to do that.
Fantastic.
Right. Thank you, Gerald.
And if you do have questions, we're going to be on for a little while, so if you want to get a question to Gerald and we've already said goodbye, feel free to type in for at least 5 minutes or so afterwards. We have some important business to take care of,
we have 2
don't
more
we?
winners. Drum roll, Mel.
Okay.
Winner is Diane Brooks from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Congratulations, Diane. And
Second winner, Brian Jensen from Minnesota. Congratulations, Brian. We'll get those gift cards to you ASAP. Please leave your details.
Excellent.
Oh, wow, what a webinar. Thank
What
you,
a powerhouse.
Jackie.
Two
Thank
powerhouses
you,
in a row. Thank you, Gerald.
Yes. Next month, November the 2nd, you cannot miss Denny again. Denny had so many people praising him, thanking him for his content. He's coming back by popular demand. 2nd of November, he's going to do part 2 of his listings revelation success package. Where's the screen, Mel?
There it is. Sorry about that.
It's a continuation of what he began last week, develop the mindset of an expert listing agent. So don't miss Denny Grimes. He actually sold out. We're not selling seats, but all the seats were taken. So as soon as this webinar is done, go and sign up for Denny's webinar.
Right, and if you didn't listen to last week's, then you can listen to the archive. It's posted, so secretswebinars.com. That and 50 other great educational opportunities for you.
Thank you, everyone. When you exit, please participate in the exit survey. We appreciate your feedback.
They can recommend speakers like they did.
And please recommend speakers that you'd like to see here on Secrets. Goodbye, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye, Mel.
Bye-bye, Dan.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye,
See you,
Jackie.
Jackie.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Paul.
Bye.
Not what you send, it's that you do.
I don't believe all my emails are personalized.
My houses come up in the first page.
Recording that testimony.
Really, the more you have to be organized.
Not to put all your eggs into one basket.
Keep those people remembering you. Give them what they're looking for.
But properly priced is the key.
I say, how can I do this different?
You know, we don't have a technology problem. We have a people problem. You have to build a relationship.
Secrets of top-selling agents